Welcome back. I'm speaking with Dr. Stacey Bell on Nutritional Healing on Your Supernatural Life here on Green 960. For podcasts of this show, go to yoursupernaturallife.com. I love that song. I don't know if you could hear it during the break, but anyway, so speaking about vitamins, so Dr. Oz says that we should be taking generic vitamins, and I'm wondering if you agree, because I know in the book, you list others that are brand names, and so what's your opinion about that?
Right, and the book's supposed to be a panoply of things that you can consider, and I think we've captured that. If you want to save money and you turn up to Walmart, in fact, Walmart is the biggest seller of vitamins in the country. For the price and the quality, and I know Walmart gets them made elsewhere, and Walmart then has an internal checker to make sure not only you're getting what's on the label, but that there's no other contaminants or toxins in there. So it's safe, and I'm in the camp where what Oz says is that, it's an inexpensive way, and I think we will see more studies where it's in fact commensurate with optimal health to take at least a multi, and I think that the megadosing is not going to pan out as being so important as just taking close to what the government recommendations are. Uh-huh. That if you want a megadose, you should be megadosing with foods,
right.
Have some broccoli or Brussels sprouts and take a variety of that kind of stuff rather than trying to get it all crammed in a pill.
Right, or juicing. Vegetable juices are great for that.
Exactly.
I met a guy who owned a porta potty company, and he said that when they cleaned out the porta potties, after an event, that they found whole vitamins. Most of them were Centrum multis. Kind of interesting. So, when I heard that, I immediately decided, well, I have to either use liquids or capsules, because I think that for most people it's really hard to digest those big pills.
I've heard that story before, but no one's ever confirmed it. The guy published this and had other people inspect it. Part of doing proper science is it has to be replicated and it has to be published and peer reviewed. And I believe you, but a lot of people take Centrum and they have a big lab there that studies this stuff. So I don't know I don't know how to answer that. Mm-hmm. Certainly liquids, if you have a problem swallowing, are a good idea, for children and the elderly. But I don't think you have to go out of your way to worry about that.
Okay. All right. And I want to know what you think of over-the-counter medicines for colds and flu.
Yeah. Is this in the homeopathy? You had mentioned that, or just in general?
In general, because I wanted to ask you about homeopathics as well.
Okay. Well, let's do the general cold and flu. Well, if you've been reading the paper, the over-the-counter conventional ones, A, don't seem to work in children, and B, could be inducing harm. So mm-hmm. There's going to be a whole change of how we approach the cold and flu. And a lot of it is just treating symptoms rather than getting the virus shortened. I must say the Zicam people have data on shortening the length of the cold, and they were the first people to do it and do what a proper study is, published in a nice journal. There's another company called Embria Health that has a substance, I don't know how they market it, but it's EMBRA, Embria Health, that has a dietary supplement with 3 or 4 clinical studies looking at reduced duration of cold if you get a cold or a flu. And those two are natural products with no side effects and not expensive. So those are my darlings. A lot of other stuff purports to do stuff every time I see airborne or mm-hmm. emergency, there aren't good data on vitamin C and the cold, except there was a huge study just published, and the only group that seemed to benefit was elite athletes seem to have fewer colds and flu, which doesn't take care of most of us. So right. I think some of these other substances that actually target immune cells that affect viral replication and viral function are the keys to go after.
And so let's talk about homeopathics, because I know there's a lot of controversy around that. I know it's worked for me and my family, and it's for me it's not a placebo. I mean, I give it to my daughter, who had a fever. We gave her belladonna, and her fever was reduced dramatically in like 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm actually editing another book of Miss Belch on herbs and homeopathy, mm-hmm. and I'm halfway through it now, and I will address it. First of all, just from telling me that story, I know you've done your homework, because you've picked an herb that you know is going to be responsive, know is going to work in a child, and probably know the right dose or concentration that you have to use of it. And so I applaud you for that. Homeopathy is not something that anyone off the street can go to a little, health food store and say, what should I be taking for my thus and such? Because it's more complicated. That said, it's quite an elegant science. And in fact, the FDA has allowed drug claims on homeopathic remedies. And that means that you can say lowers fever, treats a cold, lowers your cholesterol, lowers your blood pressure on these homeopathy herbs, homeopathy herbs. In contrast, when you take Zicam, I don't know, Zicam's not a good example, but if you take glucosamine, you can only say it supports a structure function claim, which means it supports your bones, because your bones are a structure in your body. You can't say it helps your joints and helps you feel more supple, and anything that sounds like a drug, you'll get arrested. So homeopathy is special. It works in the eyes of the government. It's sanctioned, and it's a good thing to take, and I'm glad you're doing it.
Okay, good. And so you're saying, like, if you go to Whole Foods and you see the thing, this is good for headaches, this is good for muscle cramps, it's not the best way to do. You should go to a homeopath and get sort of their take on it.
If you're going to go to a store like that, I mean, they sell all those. There's a lot of homeopathy sold in Whole Foods and GNC, and they're good quality companies. But I would check when you're doing this, because these things are elegantly done. There's years and years of study and practice on how to do it behind it. You want to get it right, because you can be off by, one dilution, and it's not going to work.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. So do you have some tips for us for staying healthy through nutrition and herbs and vitamins?
Through the cold and flu season?
Yeah.
Yeah, and certainly out in the east, we're cold here.
Right. We're cold out here, too, and it's freezing.
Okay, good. All right, so a couple of things. As I said in the beginning, your health is all you got. And I'm a big proponent of getting yearly physicals just to see benchmarks. And if they pat you on the head and they say nothing's wrong, that's wonderful. But regular checkups and regular screening of things like women with mammograms and such, that's number one. So you've got your body, your habitus. You've got to take care of that. Number two is what you're putting into your mouth, because you're doing this 3 or 4 or 5 times a day. It's very important. And there's so much in the press, and my hair turns green every day. I read something else, and somebody's reporting something. The bottom line, the first thing you need to do is look at your body weight. And these body mass index, you really want to be between 20 and 25. If you're not there, your chances of getting other diseases increases. And you can, play the game as long as you want and think about it as whatever you want to do. But anything that you can do to keep your body weight close to a good level. And if you have children, try to keep their level, starting at age 2 or 3 within normal range, so they don't have to struggle like you did maybe later in life. So it's more about how much you weigh rather than the individual nutrients going into it. That said, whatever you're going to eat, things that keep you lean and keep you full include whole grains and fruits and vegetables. And they can be prepared any way, canned, frozen, cooked, fresh, raw, whatever you're doing. It doesn't really matter. They're nutrient-dense foods with lots of water and lots of fiber, and they keep you full. And the grains obviously don't have the water, but they have the fiber, the whole grains, and they keep you full. Those have got to serve as the basis of your diet, and then obviously you need protein, either vegetarian, legumes and such, or any sorts of meats and seafoods and dairy to fill in. Everything else is gratuitous, and, we all like these tasty foods and all that, and those things have to be limited in order to get your weight optimal. The third piece is exercise, and it's a 4-letter word, even though it's got more letters.
Right.
And if you do it, you can't understand why everybody else doesn't. If you don't do it, you can't understand why anybody does it. And I've been on both sides where I did nothing for 35 years and then one day said, I don't want to live like this anymore. But you can turn yourself in to an exerciser, but that doesn't require joining a gym. All you need is a pair of shoes you can walk in. And really, you can walk in cold weather because you can walk in some malls. get a buddy, or you can walk outside in nice areas and stuff. But all you need is 30 minutes to an hour of walking a day, and you can count everything. So park away from the store, try to get up at work and walk around. Whatever you do, you got to move your body a little bit. And then lastly is supplementation. And if you've got nothing wrong with you, and I hope you're all healthy listening, there's a few supplements that I would recommend. Number one is a multivitamin, and I like things that are close to 100%, because then when I take that pill every day, it forces me to eat healthier foods, because then I'm saying, gee, what if I'm not getting enough vitamin C? I better go eat something that's rich in vitamin C. And it's sort of a game you can play with yourself to force you to eat better by not taking a mega-dosing pill. Number two, if you're female, you're going to need calcium. And most people aren't drinking 3 cups of milk a day and getting adequate vitamin D. So fortunately, the calcium pills now have vitamin D, and your bones are going to be much happier if you're supplementing with about 1,000 milligrams of calcium.
Okay, we got 30 seconds left.
Oh, sorry, I'm on my last one then. Men should not take the calcium. And lastly, omega-3s, fish oil. Capsules, not from flaxseed, but a little fish oil pill. If you took one every other day, that would be plenty.
Fantastic. Go out and buy a prescription for Nutritional Healing. Thank you so much, Dr. Bell. It was great talking to you. And this is Beth Greer. See you in here next week. Remember, have a supernatural life.